What's up, gamers? Today we got another reaction video for you guys. This time we're checking out more Bon Iver. The last time I listened to him was his sophomore album, self-titled Bon Iver. And between that one and this reaction, I actually did see him live in concert on June 17th in St. Louis with a couple of my friends. And it was pretty awesome, but before the concert I was not able to listen to these newer two albums, and so I just listened to death the first two albums, which are more folky and less electronic. And I knew people said that his newer stuff is more electronic, but I was very shocked to see how much it was so. And I was kind of sad that he didn't play more of his older stuff, but I did like what I did hear, and I'm excited to hear the studio versions of these new songs, so here we go. First track is 22 Over Soon. Let's go.
Where you gonna look for confirmation? And if it's ever gonna happen, feeling in our garden.
This is probably one of the first songs by him where I can actually understand what he's saying right off the bat. And also right off the bat, I really love the in the background glitching. And then I also can kind of hear it like fading in and out of each ear, which is pretty interesting. I thought my headphones were actually messing up. Getting those violins in there. And piano. And horns slash saxophone, maybe?
Within her eyes there lies a scissor.
It might be over soon.
Huh. That was a pretty interesting intro, and I think just showing all the different soundscapes that he wants to be using for the rest of this album, maybe. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that one. Let's keep going. Whoa. Okay. This one's called 10 Death Breast, and I think he did play this live. But, wow, I did not expect that.
I've been sitting in a stalemate. Not gonna do you no favors. But I gotta see.
I really like that overpowering and like distorted bass in the background, just like. And then it's really interesting what he's doing with his vocals. With on his other albums, you couldn't hear him because the mixing was just so low and the mastering, and it was more raw. On this one, it's more like his vocals are just affected by so much.
Fuck you from
Fuckified, that's a word. That is a really interesting word.
don't fight, don't fight, move. But I'll wrap you up. But I'll take it by the touch. In a tall grass, on the mountain cable, and I cannot seem to find I'm able.
Alrighty. The distorted percussion was definitely my favorite part of that one, and then I also really liked at the end there the horns that came in, and then the squeaking vocals in the background. And it seems like after these two songs that it's a lot more free form, no distinguishing chorus that I can see, or like sticking with verses. It's a lot more just he's saying what he's thinking, which is pretty interesting. Let's move on to 715 Creeks.
Down along the creek, I remember something that he wasn't.
I really like how his voice on this one is. You can hear clearly his normal singing voice, but then it's just layered on top of it, the deeper voice and then like the auto-tune voice. So together it all comes into one interesting sounding vocal effects.
Certain it is evening, it is now, is not the time. Ooh.
Just the fact that he's using auto-tune so much is just so interesting, because I did not expect that after his first two albums.
Your blood, I remember something. Being rushing, kissing on a night, second to last. Finding both your hands, a second sun came past the glass. And oh, I know it felt right, I had you in my grasp. Turn around, now you're my 18. Goddamn, turn around, now you're my 18.
Turn around. I love the A-Team. It's my favorite movie. Very interesting song structure. Again, it's just 4 verses and then a little outro. And then what he's saying is also really weird. Finding both your hands as second sun came past the glass. Huh. No instruments, just his voice with a bunch of autotune. Wow, just interesting. Let's keep going. To 33 God. Piano, here we go.
This is how we grow now.
I like that in the background, and then the accompanying vocal of "When we leave this room, it's gone." More distorted drums and percussion.
Stayed at the Ace Hotel, calm but loud.
That is a really interesting post-chorus. How it's just like percussion, and it sounds like like Five Nights at Freddy's ambient noises in the background that also have some sort of like melody to them. That was pretty cool.
I'm gonna need you anytime. Just gonna take it as it goes. I could go forward in the night when I better fold my clothes.
I really like that one. That was probably one of my favorites, if not favorite so far. And again, I love those distorted drums. And then what I also realized during that little instrumental outro at the end there is that the cymbals were mixed. So like you heard it on one side and then you would hear it on the other side. And then again, the ambience, which is I think just a bunch of affected vocals like he's been doing. But those sounded really cool. Yeah, really cool instrumental. Let's keep going. To 29 Strafford APTS.
Sure as any living dream.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Calm
It's
down.
not all.
Hold on, let me rewind a bit. Again, like the ambient noises in the background is something I always liked in his music, and then this album, it seems like those are just as interesting, if not more interesting than ever. Like you can hear in the background like the ch during that song. That was cool. It's like the horns like melded with his voice there at the end. That was really cool.
Hallucinating Claire. No, there's no shoe at a yard on.
There was a Claire mention on the past two albums a couple times, wasn't there? Sounds awesome. Ah. This instrumental, I'm telling you, is just perfection. Let's go. Alright, never mind. That was my favorite track so far. And I think I'm warming up more and more to this album. I feel like in the beginning, the electronics were pretty good, but I don't think they mended well into the songs. It kind of like just sounded like they were there just because. But these last two tracks kind of showed the electronics more adding to the songs, I feel like. But let's keep going to see if that trend continues. On 666 Upside Down T. Really like that electronic metronome type noise type beat. I also like how the instruments on this album so far, like the horns and the guitar, they like add to his voice whenever he sings. It kind of like goes along when he sings stressfully or stresses something, then that's what the music does, and I think that's pretty cool. That's why I haven't commented much on the guitars and the horns, just because they fit in with his voice, which is very interesting.
I fell in love. I heard about it. I heard about it. I heard about it.
I like that. I heard about it.
So it's not in your class. What's the function of the test? Well, I started myself. Help me reach the heaven before they run away.
That bass line and then the shh.
I've learned about it. I've learned about it.
That's one really cool thing about his music, especially seeing him live, is that I didn't realize like how epic it could sound. Because whenever I think of his music, I kind of think of like low-key folk and like personal introspective stuff, and not really like a stadium or amphitheater type vibe. But when he was playing live, it was like booming, and I was like, oh my god, I just want to go crazy. And I think he did play this one live, and I was like, whoa, this is quite awesome. And I love, again, the tick-tock noise of the like electronic metronome playing in the background. It's getting more and more like prominent and distorted. Super awesome.
I've laughed about it. I've laughed about
that went straight into 21 Moonwater. But again, another banging track. I loved it. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say about it. I'm pretty sure I've said everything I have about it so far anyway. Next up we got 21 Moonwater. Reversed vocals. I feel like I'm floating through a dreamscape right now.
Remember us now. I'd hardly
I really like that. Woo, woo, woo. A little electronic noise there. Now it sounds like somebody's screaming in the background. Sounds like somebody's breathing or dragging something there, like they're, and then the horns popping off in the background. Pretty cool. Oh god, it's collapsing. Ah! That was a pretty cool interlude. I felt like I was, again, floating through a dreamscape. Next up, we got 8 Circle. Another fat synth pad playing in the background. This time sounded like a choir vocals or something, and horns.
I'm standing in the street now, and I carry his guitar. I can leave behind the harbor. I will run. Have to crawl, still can't stop it. Along the fire.
Those synth pads in the background remind me of another song, and I can't think of it, and I'm about to scream, but this song is nice so far. Probably one of my favorite vocal performances on this album so far.
All that wisdom. To walk aside your favor.
What a banging horn switch up. Love those horns. There was like an electronic drum beat in the background getting more and more intense, and I thought we were going to do another switch up, which would have been crazy, but we'll see. That was like going off in the background. That was a cool one. Probably my favorite part of that song was, again, the fat synth pad at the beginning, and then the horns matching up with his voice. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Only 2 more tracks to go, though. Underscore 45 underscore and then 5 zeros a million. Let's go.
In fire, I've been caught in fire. Oh. Well, I've been caught in fire. I've been caught.
I think he's been carved and caught in fire, but I'm not sure though. Let's keep going.
In fire. I've been caught in fire. What comes prior to?
I love how full the horns sound on this one. It's not like you can hear it playing and then you know what instrument it is, but when it's playing, it's like covering the whole soundscape. It sounds awesome.
The other night, I've been caught in fire. I stayed down when I know.
Fire banjo to end off the song. Now we're going to the last track. I'm gonna let it go because I think it'll bleed into it.
Must have been forcing. It took me on them wild courses. Who knows how many poses that I've been in. To the land of morning, barking the slow, song low in the highland. Days have no numbers. If it's on me, it's on me, it'll harm me, I'll let it in. Only you'll notice I'm to be leading life. Succumb to your point.
I really like his layered vocals on this one, and then the piano also pretty good.
Demons inside, but worry about no sense. It ain't gonna buy the groceries or middle out locusts or way to find. I hurry about shame and I worry about one. So I can depose it. I picture that grove where no matter the sources, and I walked it off. How long I'd last, so in the cold, hoping on the canyon. Days have no numbers. But it harms me, it harms me, it harms me, I'll let it in.
That was a really nice song to end the album off on. And it was interesting to me because while I was listening to it, I was like, this sounds like a church song, at least the way the vocal melodies were structured and the way he was singing it. And then it says when this was performed or premiered live, he handed out like hymnal-like booklets with the lyrics. So Definitely very a churchy vibe there. And then also during the chorus of that one, I was wondering who was singing that, because the days have no numbers, and because it didn't sound like him. And it is indeed a sample of Fionn Reagan. Don't know who that is, but that's pretty interesting. Overall, my thoughts on the album. I thought it was very interesting. It both exceeded and didn't meet my expectations, because when I saw it live, and maybe this is more true for his next album because he played more of the I tracks than 22 Million, but when I heard it live, I was like, wow, the use of electronics is so intense, and here it was more like subdued. And I don't like that because it was more hype live, but then I also do like it because I feel like the way this album was created and structured with the instrumentation, it's a seamless transition into electronics from the stuff that he was doing previously. I thought that it was just going to be a complete change in sound, not even sound like him, and those first two albums were just a fluke. But thankfully, this one was definitely, you could definitely hear the progression of why he started using more electronic elements and glitchiness, and I think it really works for him, actually. And I'm really looking forward to becoming more and more familiar with this album. I'd say my favorite tracks so far were 29 Strafford APTS, 666, this closing track, and then Death Breast, just because that percussion and distorted drums just came out of nowhere for me. Hello, this is Eric from the future as I am finishing up editing this video, and I have some additional thoughts on the album that I wanted to share. And this past week, this album has grown on me more and more. I've been listening to it over and over again, and I love it. And I've also been listening to his older two albums again, and I really like how this album gave fuller context to those previous two. Because when I listen to the old ones again, I'm like, oh, that's the idea behind it. Like, he fully fleshed out or continued on this album, which I really like and I really enjoy. And then the best comparison I can come up with this album compared to his other two is that the first two are like rickety old wooden roller coasters that are fun and thrilling in their own right, that they're kind of structured, raw, and rickety, you know? And then this new one is like a new one. This one is like a steel industrial roller coaster that can do corkscrews and stuff like that. And it's like, oh yeah, you can do that, I guess. But like fundamentally, there's still a roller coaster. Fundamentally, it's still Bon Iver's music, just like updated or modernized or crazy shit. But some individual thoughts on some of the tracks. I think 33 God is the best one on the album. And I don't know why I didn't see that when I first listened to it, but I watched the music video for it, and I also discovered music videos for all the rest of the songs exist, so that's pretty cool. But I watched it, and I was like, this is the greatest song ever. And then the next two best songs after that are also the next two on the album, which is Strafford APTS and 666. I think those three songs are just the best. And I have also really grown on 22 Over Soon. I thought originally it was kind of an okay opener, but not as like grand as the first two on his first two albums. But the more I listen to it, the more I see it fit in with the context of the whole record. And I really like it. Really like this album. Really looking forward to II. Stay tuned for that. But those are my favorites so far. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'm looking forward to his next album. Be sure to subscribe so you can see that. Yeah!